gon' tune in cause the showtime. Go ahead and call the gang up for the one time. Rap food rhyme, got them on the line. And my life's still great, I'm doing just fine. Hands up.
So while we talking about Nintendo, apparently the Switch 2 was shown at Gamescom. I got this article from IGN. They said Nintendo reportedly revealed Switch 2 behind closed doors at Gamescom 2023 last month, showing off the power of its upcoming next-gen console. The Switch 2 was shown running a souped-up version of the Switch launch title, Zelda Breath of the Wild. And they're saying that the visuals were comparable to the PS5 and the Xbox Series consoles. So with hearing this information, knowing that the next Switch game is going to come out with some up specs that's going to match or could match the PS5 and the Xbox, how do you guys feel about? Because they said that they're aiming for late 2024 to release a new console. So given all the games that we know are going to come out at release for the Switch, how are you guys feeling about the up specs?
I mean, I will say with the Breath of the Wild, them saying they're not going to do a DLC.
That was Tears of the Kingdom.
Oh, Tears of the Kingdom?
Yeah.
Oh, wrong game. Them saying they're
Same
not going to
franchise.
do wrong title.
Mm-hmm.
Them saying they're not going to do a DLC, that kind of gives me a more reason to be like, okay, they're just waiting on the Switch 2 to drop, and then they're probably going to bring something with that, which is possible.
And the way, and around the time that Mario Kart 9 is supposed to actually release, that might be a system seller.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were just saying in the last episode, it is around that time Nintendo releases kind of offshoot before/after Xbox and Sony. So it's a good time, and I'm pretty sure they're going to keep it backwards compatible. Like, honestly,
so that's what everybody's worried about. They are not sure, and Nintendo has not said anything on whether the next Switch console is going to be backwards compatible.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, in my wholehearted, honest opinion,
it needs to be.
If it's a Switch 2, that's what they called it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
If it is a Switch 2, they either need to make it backwards compatible to physical games, or make it a very smooth transition for you to get your digital games over to the new console, because it just would not make sense for them to do that. But I understand if it wasn't physically, because they can't do them cartridges the same way to get all that data for comparable graphics to Sony and Microsoft.
That's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
It depends on what the cartridge looks like, because if they have to use so much amount of space for like chips and everything else to get those specs up there, they may not have enough room for the cartridge is already small as it is, and if you look at me in my face and the cartridge has to get smaller, we in trouble.
And the cartridge shows the data, and depending on the size of the console, that's how it interprets the data, outputs it. Because what I'm thinking is,
they said they were still going to keep it with, the handheld piece and the console piece, so it has to be in the whatever we're calling that part, the screen thing, the actual console.
I think the dock is going to get some beefed up stuff in it too. Then, if they're saying comparable graphics, so that's at minimum 1440p.
So you're saying the dock's going to do more? Because if we look at the current Switch, I would say that if we were to split it up, majority of the power is going to the actual piece that you put in the dock, and the dock just converts it to the TV thing. But you thinking they're gonna beef up the dock?
I feel like they got to, because I don't see, unless technology is just evolved. Yeah.
How else would you get near like PlayStation 5 graphics? Imagine trying to play Ghost of Tsushima or something along those lines. Like they're pretty much trying to say, hey, we can compete with playing Ghost of Tsushima on PS5 versus playing it on this new Switch 2.
And that's what I'm saying. And it's like the equivalent to like how far can you beef up a laptop versus actually having a desktop that has the full size fans and everything else.
That's
Yeah.
true.
You know what I mean? Like the Switch is basically a laptop compared to the Xbox and PlayStation 5.
I would agree.
Yeah.
So it's
gonna be
like,
tough.
yeah.
I'm interested to see how they. I think the smart thing. I agree with Ryan. I think the smart thing to do is to beef up the dock.
Yeah.
Probably like the regular game has its own like 1440 signals and all that, but when it's connected to the docks, they do some little tech magic to make it actually produce all the good stuff, higher frame rates and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Because they can't be doing these 24 FPS games anymore.
I mean, they, from a Nintendo standpoint, they kind of don't have much of a choice with Unreal Engine 5 starting to, slowly become an industry standard engine.
Mm-hmm.
That
So
was
they
the
got to be able to keep up with that.
that was the other part of the article. Alongside Zelda Breath of the Wild, they said that Nintendo showed off Epic's The Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5 tech demo running on hardware with the specs Nintendo is targeting for the future console.
I mean, if Nintendo willing to compete, I'm here for it. I hate it when they said that mess saying we don't see Sony as Microsoft as competition, because in my opinion, it's a cop out.
But if that was the case, to just agree with you, because like for you to say that and then turn around and get all these Switch ports of well-known IPs that launched on PlayStation and Xbox, you can't tell me that you're not trying to compete, because what would be the reason?
And that's the thing, like Mario is a notable brand and it does have high brand power, but it's also like the more kids that are born and the more adults that grow up and they find new interests, you got to find ways to keep them. And now kids right now are spoiled. Look at the content they can get.
Exactly.
Why would I play Toonie Mario when I can play Toonie Fortnite? Mario has a big brand, but let's just be honest, it ain't been at the top, in my opinion, in a while. It ain't been that guy.
It's really been like, I would agree with you, because if we look outside of Smash Bros and Mario Kart, what other Mario IPs are really grabbing people's attention?
Even looking at Smash Bros and Mario Kart, look at how long it's been since they came out. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like, we ain't hyping them up no more.
They still doing tournament. The thing, I have seen less Smash Bros tournaments, but Mario Kart is really keeping them. Like they just did a Mario Kart tournament last week at Nintendo Live.
And that's cool, but it's like we now, after the world came back alive after the shutdown, we've gotten a lot of fire games. They're getting more expensive, and Nintendo's probably going to raise their prices as well. They're going to have to keep up with the market. They got to compete.
I would agree. The other thing that I got out of this, because I was talking to a coworker about this like a day before the news came out that they had shown the Switch 2 at Gamescom. I was like, the Switch 2 has to up the specs. It has to, because I'm just thinking about like the Mortal Kombat release. The Mortal Kombat 1 is coming out on PS5, Xbox, and Switch. And if we just look at all of the other Switch ports and the fact that Hogwarts Legacy got delayed twice for Switch, they've been pulling out features so it can work on that console. That's not sustainable. Going forward for a new console, that's not sustainable for you to have game releases and I can't play the same way that these other people are playing on PS5 and Xbox. You're going to have to up the specs.
Yeah,
because developers treat the Switch like it's a PS4 or Xbox One. Like that's what they got to treat it like. And y'all can't come out in a year or so and push out something that's barely on the level of PS5 and Xbox Series X, or y'all not going to get good ports. Some people can't have multiple consoles like the folks in this podcast. Most folks have like one console, their parents bought it, they got to share with their friends. Folks ain't just got money to throw away like that. So exclusives matter, but you gotta have those general releases as well.
Like hardware. Like even if you don't want to compete with Sony or Xbox like on the game level, the specs have to be there.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They have to be there. Even if then you stop doing Switch ports and it's just Mario, 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 Mario for the rest of your life. The specs have to be there. Even with Mario, the specs have to be there.
We can't have all these glitches, dropping frame rates, games
I can't
broken.
be playing
we can't have
Pokemon
that.
and my Switch heats up from the back. Like it's you can't.
Girl.
It's not sustainable. You can't make these big open world Pokemon games and my Switch start heating up 30 minutes in the gameplay. You can't. We can't. We cannot.
Look,
Only thing I need Nintendo to do is go back to doing physical games. Like go back to Just Dance. Go back to Dance Dance Revolution type games. Because that's where, in my opinion, Nintendo really excelled. Like
Yeah.
you can hop on the Wii even right now and throw on Just Dance some and have a ball. So why can't they just integrate that into the Switch now?
I mean, they have that. They have Just Dance for the Switch.
They do.
They have Just Dance.
They did.
The only thing I would say about Just Dance is that Just Dance, they are milking Just Dance. Like that, Just Dance should have stopped a long time ago. Like they are milking that franchise. But they still have like those motion based games, like the Wii Sports that came out, or it's some boxing game that they got. Like that physical part of it is still there. That's just not holding up as it did.
Well,
the Wii.
here's the thing: they ain't investing in it either. Like you're talking about that little boxing game when they had the springs on the arm, which came out like around the time the console released.
This another boxing game.
Well,
but I would agree with you. But I would agree with you though. They don't invest in those physical games.
Because I got Switch Sports, and when they first dropped it, this game is coming to it. This game is coming to it. I'm like, do y'all not read the room and see that people are sick of undeveloped games that aren't fully matured? Like, you can't drop a game and say, hey, DLC is immediately on the way. That lets us know you purposely didn't finish it.
Yeah.
Like, that's not going to make me invest in you. You drop the Switch Sports, give me a story mode like Wii Sports Resort. Give me 10 different sports. Don't say, I'm waiting to drop this. No, because now it's an incomplete product and you already ain't marketed well.
I think I would agree with Ryan. I just don't think that when the Switch came out that the physical part of it was at the forefront. Because if you think of all the games that dropped when the Switch came out, these are all like sit down and play games. Zelda Breath of the Wild, Smash Bros, Mario Kart, like not really a lot of physical. Pokemon, like not really a lot of physical that you need to like. They put the physical on the side because you can do it. Like we have programmed the Switch to be compatible with these games, but that wasn't really the focus.
True.
Okay.
But I mean, but even like going forward, I'm not really sure they will invest in the physical side, because if we're taking this as them trying to compete with Sony and Microsoft, how many physical games are coming out on PS5 and Xbox?
Well, if they go with that mindset, they need to stand 10 toes down behind it. Because the whole point of having the Joy-Cons that can move around, turn them to the side, play with friends. If you're telling us that you're not finna invest on your physical game side, then merge those Joy-Cons into the console like Sony trying to do with their little whatever portal. Give us only physical controllers, modify those, and keep those up to par, and truly invest in the mechanics within the console. If the only thing you're trying to sell is portability and not motion anymore, then go 10 toes down behind it. Give us the best portable experience.
I agree. And I think the only reason that they haven't done that to this point, because the only real physical game that really gets some junction is Mario Party.
Yeah.
Like, that whole point of... And I also don't think they're going to get rid of the Joy-Cons if they're still doing, like, we can turn these into controllers so you can play Smash Bros. And play Mario Kart. I don't think they're going to get rid of the Joy-Cons. I just think that they're not going to invest in making games where you have to, like, where that physical standpoint comes into. But I think the sharing aspect of it, you being able to take off these Joy-Cons and turn them into controllers, like, anywhere, I don't think they're going to get rid of that. But I do agree, like, if y'all not going to invest in the physical stuff, just say that, you know?
Yeah, and truly go through with it, because that's those are your two selling points. Nintendo's two selling points are portability and motion. That's the only reason some people don't hold them to the same regard as Microsoft and Sony when it comes to graphics. But if you even get rid of one of those, catch up.
Yeah.
Put some pep in your step.
Everybody gonna be looking at Nintendo. So what are you gonna do?
Look, exactly, where you at? Stop making these half-assed games. Invest in your IPs.
They really disappointed me with Strikers. They really did. That's what I wanted to talk about when you had brought up Switch Sports. Like it was Switch Sports and it was Strikers, and it was just like, this game is not finished. Like, y'all done gave us 8 characters for Strikers. Talking about more characters are on the way. It's like, it's done now. By the time I play a week of Strikers and I ain't got no new characters, it's done.
That's the thing, bro. Nintendo, honestly, worse than most of these. I hate to say it. Y'all need to let that nostalgia go, fans. Nintendo worse than a lot of these game publishers when it comes to developing half-ass games. That's what they're making. They ain't been investing much time into it. This Mario game, they invest. We can tell. It looks like they invested into it.
Wonder this is gonna be a full scale game. But what I am concerned about is when the Switch 2 comes out and what's going to be the quality of the new Mario Kart, the new Smash Bros, the new Zelda game, the new Pokemon game. Like, are they going to be complete? Like, are we going to get a full experience, or are you guys going to just give us something because you need to give us something to go with this new console?
Mario Sonic at the Olympics game, because it's going to be another Olympics coming up soon too.
Yeah.
So we know that's coming.
That would be a good. That would definitely, just going back to Ralph's point, that would definitely be a good physical game for them to invest in.
They need to put quality though. The last good Mario Sonic at the Olympics game was the Winter Olympics that came out in, what was that, 2012? It was on the Wii.
Yeah.
The Winter, when it came to customizability for your Mii and all the little outfits you can unlock, the little story mode they had, that was the last one that was good.
Like, they made another one after that?
Then, if that was 2012, didn't they make one in 2016? Do I got it? I think, yeah, because I got one over here.
They did make one for the Switch. Yo, I just like the picture of the cover and everything just popped into my head. They did,
and it was lackluster. It was a lackluster experience, just like this one.
He was finna.
It was both lackluster experiences.
He was about to let it out.
He was about to let it rip. He said, especially this piece of this game.
Because I was excited for it. Like, I played it for a day, and then I was like, "This is so incomplete."
I honestly feel like they just did it just to do it. You know how they sometimes they put out games just because they feel like they need to put out a game.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that when you're slacking behind the competition.
I did, like, my last thing, and I'm gonna say this: if they were to invest more into motion games, that's their dark horse. If they do well with their motion game, because they're getting Call of Duty back. If you remember back on Wii, they had Call of Duty.
It was ass.
They had the little gun thing, but it was motion. It was start. So if they can continue to mold that and make it better,
I honestly,
they need to do that with Fortnite. They need to do that with Fortnite.
Yeah, because
they need to make it so you can.
That tuning stuff they do in Fortnite, I can see that fitting well. But like Call of Duty,
with the hammer too, you start swinging.
I didn't like the way that they did. It was some games that they put on the Wii, like the 2K, Call of Duty, Star Wars, The Force Unleashed. Like, I did not like the way they incorporated that on the Wii.
I just know 2K was ugly.
It was disgusting. It was like, I was like, I understand what y'all are trying to do, but no, it's not working. It's not working.
And that's the thing with Nintendo. Like, when you buy a Nintendo console, you really committing to just Nintendo games. And that's why, like, unless you're a kid who grew up on Nintendo and you just really, really love Nintendo, in this economy, you better off getting a PS5 or Xbox.
I am very interested, just to bring it full circle. I'm very interested to see what is all coming with this Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Ryan just said, like, the nostalgia is going to keep them alive every time. But like with the type of games that are coming out or are about to come out, like, if we could fully get that capability on the Switch without downgrading, they got something. They have something.
But if they don't do that,
But
we
if they
1 or 2
don't,
generations away from Mario losing his throne.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's only so many Mario Karts you can make. I already
And
told
you
them what
already
I already told them what they need to do to make Mario Kart 9 go up, and if they don't listen to me, it's just I don't know what to tell you.
Exactly.
But
It'll probably affect the games going from probably 2025, 2026 to the future.
Yeah.
I would
Ones that
would
ain't
agree.
even been announced yet. Like those
Right.
games that ain't got no real trailers yet, just teasers, they
Yep.
Yeah.
in trouble.
I definitely agree.
So it's
Any